Hello, it is Thursday, the 29th of October. It's 4 pm. We're on the brink of Halloween, and it's time for another Etch Play Weekly Live Show, episode 9. Officially, as many episodes as there are episodes of Star Wars. And I'm joined for the news today by Dan Thomas. Dan, how's it going?
Hello, yes, I'm very good, thank you. How are you, Adam?
I'm not too bad. I'm ready to be spooked. I've already started watching some films. Watched Arachnophobia yesterday from the 90s. Very good film about spiders. But we're not here to talk about films, sadly. We're here to talk about games, which are just as good, if not better. Yeah, I don't know why I said sadly. Take that back. Please don't fire me. First off, we're starting with some news today. Dan's going to run it down with me. Stick around, though, because later on we are talking about Animal Crossing with Emma Budd and Toni Atanasova. And Ben Joy is joining the show later on. If you're a Ben Joy fan, stick around to the end to hear about seasonal updates to games. It kind of ties into the video. He's got a blog. You can read it. Synergy. It's almost like we plan it. Nearly, yeah. Starting off with the news then. First news story of today is the Cyberpunk delay. So, Cyberpunk 2077, a game that has already been delayed at least 3 times, maybe more. So 3 that I can think of, has been delayed again. It had actually gone gold, which is usually a sign. In fact, I think this might be the first game ever to have been delayed after it's gone gold for non-logistical reasons. But I guess that, going gold means a lot less than it used to nowadays in the age of day one patches and stuff. The game on the disc is not really the game you're going to be playing when you first put it in the console anyway. 3-week delay, so it's not the end of the world. You have to wait until 2021 yet. They could delay it again. But they're now saying December 10th. Dan, are you excited for Cyberpunk?
I think it looks amazing. I was a huge fan of The Witcher. I think it looks really good. More delays. It's kind of you want them to get the product right, and there's obviously a lot of chatter around the implications of what that means on the teams. But hopefully everybody is. I'm sure everybody is still just as passionate about the project and want to see it be the best it can be. So I think we need to give people the time it needs, hope for the best.
Sending our love to everyone who works at CD Projekt Red this week. I'm sure it's very difficult there at the minute.
Absolutely.
Elsewhere, we've had some unboxings. Do you like unboxings? They have the box, they open it.
Yeah, there's some big unboxings, so I gather.
Some big unboxings, yeah. Both the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series, both X and S, have been in the hands of a variety of internet personalities this week. Streamers and video game outlets, CNET, IGN, GameSpot, all the big ones, and some quite small ones as well. They've all been allowed to open the box and film themselves opening the box for YouTube. Have you seen these, Dan? Have you seen any of the boxes?
I've seen some. Mostly, I've seen photos of people's entertainment cabinets and the struggles they have fitting their PlayStations in them.
Yeah, the PlayStation 5 is pretty big. But in terms of the boxes, I mean, both the boxes are quite nice. There's a environmental aspect to the PlayStation 5 box, minimal cardboard. Xbox has gone maybe the other direction, quite a lot of cardboard, but they've really thought about, you open it like a shoebox and it kind of like says Xbox at the top and it's in there in like a little slanted thing. It says power your dreams, makes you feel all warm inside.
I really appreciate those efforts, and we talk a lot about the extended experience, and when you consider the opening of the box is a part of your experience, and it should be. You are excited. You have just spent your hard-earned money on this, and your experience should start as soon as you are lifting the lid.
Exactly. One of the most interesting things that's come out with the unboxings is that people have been allowed to talk about the PlayStation 5 controller. Specifically, they've been allowed to play a PlayStation 5 game. Astro's Playroom, which is a pack-in game included on the PlayStation 5. It's pre-installed. People are allowed to talk about what I believe is the first level of this game, and not to say anything else more. But it means we've had some impressions on the controller being used on actual PlayStation 5 software, which is exciting. And the impressions, it has to be said, are incredibly positive. I've not seen anyone dislike this controller. It's a slight departure for Sony. It's more, dare I say, more Xbox-esque than the previous DualShocks. But it sounds like the real area where it shines is haptic feedback. So this is something that Nintendo were pushing originally with the HD Rumble on the Switch, to varying degrees of success. Apparently, the haptic feedback in the PlayStation 5 DualSense lives up to the promises that in a way that Nintendo didn't really manage to hit with the Switch. And you can really feel the difference between materials. It reportedly feels gritty when you're having sand blown in your face. You can feel the ice when you're standing on ice. Obviously, it doesn't feel cold, as far as I know, but there's clearly a lot of thought and effort has gone into that, and it'll be interesting to see if other developers support that. Obviously, Astro's Playroom is designed to show off those features. Whether we'll see that in any major third-party software is yet to be seen.
It's worth, like, the Astro games, they are typically kind of rolled out for that, but they are
good.
Generally, they're very good games. And the Astrobot PSVR version, I remember they use some of the PS4 controller innovations. So yeah, it will be really interesting to see if other studios do step up and embrace these additional capabilities.
I actually think that Astro's Playroom might be the best game you could play for the PlayStation 5 on launch. Especially seeing as we've now learned that Destruction All-Stars is delayed. So this was originally coming out as a launch title. It's now going to come out in February next year. They've also changed tact with the pricing. This was originally going to be a £70 game, and now it's going to be free on PlayStation Plus, at least for the first couple of months. Taking the kind of Rocket League approach, which, I mean, the game looks similar to Rocket League, has some Rocket League-esque qualities. Maybe they're trying to recreate that success. But yeah, strange if you were one of the people who pre-ordered this game, especially reportedly if you had a bundle. Now your bundle's going to be refunded. You have to find a PlayStation 5 somewhere else.
It is an interesting tactic if it's anything intentionally done. I mean, what they've done is set the precedent that this is a full price game. So perceptually they've conferred a value on it. If it dives straight in with, this is going to be free, it's on PS Plus, there's going to be a shift in mindset. So yeah, it's an interesting. I mean, if in this world we live in, it could very well also just be purely it's not ready, they're not ready for it. That's certainly not an uncommon scenario.
I think. I mean, if I was going to be bold and make a cynical prediction, I would say that the pre-order numbers for this as a £70 game were not matching expectations. So they're taking the time to put some MTX in there, make it a bit more microtransaction-y and make it free, and retool it slightly, try and make a success out of it in that way. But the game looks fun. We'll not see much of it.
Yeah, it does look good, yeah.
Hopefully that comes out and is a success. It does mean that the already light launch lineup for next gen has dwindled even further. However, in good news, especially for PlayStation Plus customers, Bugsnax is still coming to PlayStation 5, and it's going to be free on PlayStation Plus, but only for PlayStation 5 users. And I'm still not sure mechanically how this works, because historically, it's a cross-buy game. If you buy it on one, you get it on the other. So if you buy a PlayStation 4 version, you get it on PlayStation 5, and vice versa. Historically, that wouldn't be possible. You wouldn't be able to have it be free for one platform only, because it's one SKU on the store, and it just applies to all the consoles. So yeah, not sure how it's going to work, but apparently not for PlayStation 4 users. If you buy a PlayStation 5, you'll be rewarded with a free copy of Bugsnax on PlayStation Plus. And yeah, everyone is excited about Bugsnax. Do you like Bugsnax?
I mean, the theme tune is catchy, and I was a big fan of... I forget the name of it now. It was a 360 game, Viva Pinata, which kind of it had some shared elements of cutesiness and animals and things. So yeah, I think it looks cool.
So that's exciting, and hopefully we'll see more of Bugsnax in the future. Elsewhere, in the world of TV, Assassin's Creed, a game franchise, very popular one, which has already been turned into a film with Michael Fassbender, is now going to be a TV series that's coming to Netflix. Very little to go on here. They've announced it, but that's about it. We know that Ubisoft are involved from a production point of view. But yeah, thoughts on this? Are you excited about an Assassin's Creed TV series?
I am excited. As I mentioned, I was a big fan of The Witcher, and I really enjoyed the Witcher Netflix series. So if that's a precedent for games coming to Netflix series, then very excited. I love Assassin's Creed. I didn't mind the movie; it was kind of good, but I feel like there's not much to infer from the movie. This is a whole different time now, and
Hmm.
yeah, I'm excited for it. And yeah, give me more Assassin's Creed. I'm happy with that in whatever channel you want to throw it at me.
If it was up to you, would they rebook Michael Fassbender for the role of Altair?
I would like to see some different.
Wow, slamming Fassbender. Got beef
I mean,
with Michael Fassbender
I,
here on the
I
show.
I enjoy Fassbender in his various roles, but it's time for something new. Assassin's
Wow.
Creed is about evolution, and they mix things up. So I don't think we need to roll out the Fassbender again.
Fassbender fans in the chat, rise up. Let us know what you think about that.
Are you not happy with that statement?
Well, I'm a big Fassbender fan. But if you're watching, Michael, I think you're great. Don't listen to Dan. Also, in visual movie/TV news, Uncharted is a movie that's being made, and Tom Holland is going to be the Nathan Drake in this franchise, and Mark Wahlberg is going to be the Sully. Both playing, I'm guessing, young versions of the characters. Obviously, not the version that you might know from Uncharted 4, who's slightly older. And this week they released some images of these guys. Tom Holland's in costume. Wahlberg's not in costume, but he does have a mustache, which is what Sully famously has in the game. And yeah, your thoughts on this, Dan? Are you excited about an Uncharted movie?
Yes, I wouldn't have called those two as the cast, but yeah, interesting. Always up for giving people a chance to surprise. Tom Holland, I saw him in costume, and it just kind of looked like young Tom Holland cosplaying Nathan Drake rather than being Nathan Drake. But
yeah,
you're
on board. You're gonna watch it?
I'll watch it.
Yeah. As long as Fassbender's not in it, you're on board.
I'm not against Fassbender. He can stay in the world of cinema. Wow. I can see in the chat I'm being decimated.
Yeah.
Ah, well, I'll just get into it now. No more Fassbender.
Wow. Okay. Some sad news to share with you about Halo Infinite. Obviously, a beleaguered game that's already been delayed to 2021. A director and long-time executive at 343, Chris Lee, has left the project. It's the second director to depart in 2 years. Obviously, there's a lot of pressure on this game. I guess it's in a kind of cyberpunk position where there's just so much expectation on it, and there's obviously things going on behind the scenes that are making things difficult for the team. So, yeah, that's another, not nail in the coffin, but another fly in the ointment for the troubled development of Halo Infinite, and we hope that turns out good.
Yeah, they are really just keep backing themselves into this corner that it's got to be good, and then yeah, fingers crossed.
Definitely. I found it interesting, actually, talking about the unboxing. I think I might have mentioned this on the show before, but like Master Chief is still on the box. Like, it's like they printed the boxes before they delayed it, even.
Well,
which
yeah,
is an interesting conundrum to be in.
I guess he is synonymous with Xbox, regardless of
generation.
I
actually, I also have a can of Monster in my fridge right now. I should have brought it on the show. It's Halo Infinite branded. It was supposed to launch with a double XP weekend powered by Monster Energy. So you didn't enter the code from the can to get double XP.
Nice. So you could have killed two birds with one stone as well, because we've already taken flack in the chat for not having any Halloween related things. Maybe you could flag Monster.
Yeah, Monster, close enough. And in addition to my lucrative Doritos sponsorship deal that I'm working on, I do love the refreshing taste of Monster Energy, especially the zero flavours. Elsewhere, I'm corpsing myself on this show this week really bad. Facebook's getting into cloud gaming. This is a market that we're expecting is going to grow hugely in the future, and the next 10 years is going to be massive for cloud gaming from a variety of partners. We already know that Amazon are involved, we know that Google are involved, we know Microsoft are involved. You have to imagine Sony are doing something, and we'll talk about Nintendo in a minute. But Facebook have announced that they've started a beta, basically, playing their games over the cloud, and in a slight departure from the way that Stadia and Luna work, there's no extra cost, there's no subscription or ultra high resolution options like 4K 60. It's all about just taking the games that you already play on Facebook and playing them in the cloud, just so it's a bit better performance, access from anywhere, low powered devices, that kind of thing. Do you do any Facebook gaming, Dan? I feel like neither of us have gamed on Facebook in a while.
Yeah, I don't engage with Facebook as much as perhaps I should, and they are pushing hard in. I mean, they had Facebook gaming has been around for a while. They're creating their own streaming platform. They do have that audience of pretty much everyone, and they, as you said, they've kind of said that we're not going for the 4K 60 FPS world. They are focusing on that casual market, which will suit their audience. So it will be a really interesting evolution of the. They've got a game playing audience already. The Words with Friends and those sorts of games that they just get huge engagement with, and now they're kind of unlocking a visible pathway between that and perhaps more core type gaming. And it'd be really interesting to see the experiences that develop in that journey. So yeah, I think it'd be really interesting purely from the audience that they can get into new types of game experiences through this.
Yeah. Sticking with cloud gaming then, I mentioned that I would tell you what Nintendo are up to. They've finally revealed their hand in terms of cloud gaming. They've partnered with a company called Ubitus, and are going to be allowing certain, impressive games to be streamed to the Nintendo Switch through cloud. The initial batch here is just a couple of games. It's Hitman 3 and Control Ultimate Edition. So, popular AAA titles, you would probably argue. And Control in particular is that's a resource hog. That game will test a PC. Like if you've got a really good PC, it'll test it. So it's interesting to think about that kind of high fidelity experience being streamed to a Nintendo Switch. And they announced this yesterday, I think it was. Are you excited about this, Dan? You've got a Switch. You're going to try some streaming?
Yeah. I definitely. I'm a big believer in getting content where people want to play it, and if this technology enables more varied games to be on the platform, then bring it on. I'm a huge Hitman fan. I'm looking forward to that. So I'll check that out on the Switch as well. And if they can get it's no mean feat at the moment. Get streaming games to a device. We've got connectivity issues, you've got device power issues, all of these things. So if they can get that right, that'd be really good.
Yeah, definitely. That's it for the news, and we're about to throw to a pre-recorded segment about Animal Crossing. But before we do, I just thought I'd mention, because I know we didn't talk about it in the video I'm going to throw to, a couple of guests on the show about to be for the first time, Emma and Toni. And Dan, you've been working with Toni through Limit Break, which I think is worth mentioning as an organisation that partners mentors with mentees in the world of games, and we love Toni, don't we? I think she's great.
We do, yeah. I think she's got a great career in front of her, and very excited to have her on the show.
So making their Etch Play live show debuts then, here's Emma and Toni, and me. I'm just there facilitating. And this is Animal Crossing, checking out the seasonal update, and we will see you back here in about 10 minutes for some Ben Joy and some further chat about seasonal updates. See you in 10.
See ya.
Hello and welcome to the world of Animal Crossing New Horizons on the Nintendo Switch. I'm joined by Emma Budd and Toni Atanasova, two Animal Crossing aficionados. Hello, thanks for joining me, guys.
Hello.
Give people at home a little wave. We're going to be doing some island tours today. We're looking at both of your islands. You've both been revamping them slightly with some content from the spooky Halloween update. We just thought we'd have a look around, check out your island. For those of you who aren't familiar, Animal Crossing is the smash hit game that came out this year, which basically gives you an island to play with. You can decorate your island however you want. You can collect turnips, other inspirational life goals besides turnips, I imagine. And these two are big fans, so I knew I had to get them on the show. And this is Toni's I'm looking at first, so I'm going to throw to her. Toni, what are we looking at here?
Well, this is my island, called Anavrin, named after the shop in the show You, so some people might find that a recognizable name. So just on my way to the Halloween area that I have been working on. On the other side is just the big old mess with all the flowers, so I'm not showing that off. So, as you probably see, my island is going to be covered in pumpkins and lanterns and all the spooky items.
Nice. So you're giving us the
So
best
just
bits.
giving
You've
you
hidden all the
knowledge.
mess somewhere else.
Yes.
Like when
Yeah,
someone comes
very
around.
strategically.
You've really embraced Halloween and the update. It's amazing.
It was my favorite season, so I can't really celebrate it in the same way in real life. So I kind of had to go all out on
Yeah.
my island.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? I think Animal Crossing's going to be replacing Halloween parties and trick-or-treating this year for a lot of people.
Yeah,
so-
definitely. And it's really nice because I could have my friends over on my island, have a little celebration. And we've been doing that all over the past few months.
And you've been playing Animal Crossing since it launched? Like this is an island many months in the making?
Too many months in the making, yeah. Since first day of release I've been playing. And there is still so much to do. It's just never ending.
Do you know how many hours you've spent playing it? It looks like a lot of work.
I'm embarrassed to admit it, too many. I think I have about 450 so far.
I mean, it's so impressive. I mean, you've got a maze, like that takes time, but it's
Yeah,
so worth
pretty.
it.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It is a
Love
pretty simple maze, but I just had to fill the empty space around, so I thought I'd give a little bit of a cornfield, spooky maze vibe.
Yeah, you know, you've got
And
all
then
in.
the rest is clowns and circus themed items, which spook me in real life.
Yeah, conquering your own fears.
Yeah, definitely.
Are you're a big fan of this update then, I take it? I mean, you must be, because you've used all these items all over the place. I'm guessing you're a
yeah.
fan.
Yeah, definitely. I think a few months ago we were all kind of making fun of Nintendo for not giving us pumpkins and making memes about oranges instead, and how we're going to decorate with that. But they got the update, and it's really exciting. And there is just so much to do. And I'm loving the farming element with all the pumpkins as well.
You mentioned, or you kind of hinted there at what a strange year this has been for people. 2020, obviously one for the history books, and maybe not in ways people would like.
Yep.
It's meant so much to so many people this year in terms of isolation and just, because it's been so scary outdoors. But I'd like to get some words from both of you, if possible, like maybe starting with you, Toni. What has this meant to you in 2020? Like, how important has Animal Crossing been?
Honestly, that's what got me through the past few months, I think, and it came out right at the beginning of lockdown, I think, and either Nintendo knew something that we didn't know, or they got really lucky with that release date, because it just came at the right time. And for me personally, it was just the escape, because outside it was crazy, not being able to see my friends. And I'm lucky because a lot of them actually have the game, so we were able to kind of have our parties on the island and visit each other's islands and water plants and just have a conversation while doing that. And I actually reconnected with a lot of people that I had lost touch with beforehand as well. So it's been great.
Yeah, that is
Really
good.
nice.
So this is Emma's island. We've now transitioned.
Oh,
Emma,
what
do you want
happened
to
to
tell us
me
what's
was-
going on here?
I saw everyone playing Animal Crossing throughout lockdown, and I was like, I've got to give in and get this. So I bought a Switch, bought Animal Crossing, and I've started. So I'm quite new. So my island is nothing like Toni's island. It's very early days, I would say. I don't know what my hours are in gameplay, actually. It scares me to look sometimes. So, but I'm definitely in the early days. So I'm trying to grow some hybrid flowers over here. Although I've got a new technique for that. The 5x5 grid, apparently. It's not the... I watched a lot of YouTube videos. Animal Crossing has just basically taken over my life. But there's something just so therapeutic about playing it, I think. Planting flowers, watering flowers. You'll see my pumpkin patch down here, which, it's got like the farming element of it. It's just, you can just switch off while you're playing it, which I've loved. And I can see why it's meant so much to so many people. It's just so wholesome, isn't it? It's,
it really is. It's kind of a way to relax and switch off completely and meditate as well.
Although I would say it is that, but then also I'm like, gotta have the best island. I want to have a really good island. This is an example of wholesomeness. Sherb is probably my favourite islander. Let's have a little chat with
he's
him.
adorable.
He's so cute. But I think what I really need is some tips to how do you get an island as good as yours, Tony? That's the question.
Oh goodness, too many hours, I think, is the answer.
Give up your life.
I'm ready to do that. There's nothing else to do this year. I'm ready to dedicate my life to Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I think 2020 is cancelled. So it's time to dedicate our life to Animal Crossing farming. I just spend a lot of time on Instagram and YouTube and look at other people's islands and what they do, and also just looking at things that I like, so places that I miss in real life. For example, where I live we have a rock garden, so at one point I recreated that so I could visit that in game because I couldn't go out to visit it. So stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Taking inspiration from...
You've got a few jack-o'-lanterns around here, Emma, and you've started planting hybrid flowers. What's next? What's the next thing you're going to start playing with on your island?
Well, what I've now unlocked is the terraforming, which means that you can create paths, you can create rivers, you can add cliff edges, which I think at the time of recording this did a couple of paths. That's about it. Now the pressure's on because I can actually change the landscape of my island, which I hadn't been able to do up until this point. So I'm always just overwhelmed with it though. I'm like, oh, there's a lot of pressure now to make my island really good. I can actually do things to it. It's not just shaking trees anymore. It is actually, I've got the ability. So probably, like Tony says, watching a lot of YouTube and looking on Instagram for inspiration and then getting stuck in many more hours to come. But there's also, I mean, you probably know more about this, more to come from the autumn update, and then Christmas stuff, which I can only imagine is going to be amazing.
Yeah, I've already spoiled it for myself, so I've looked at the items and they are going to be really cool. So you've joined at the right time.
It is still, I'm late to the party somewhat, but it is still really exciting to have, be part of gameplay in the first year of this version of Animal Crossing anyway. So there is stuff that's coming out that's new. Seems to be the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, the game's definitely...
Adam, are you tempted to you've got a Switch, but you haven't...
I do own a Switch, and I don't own Animal Crossing. I played a lot of Spiritfarer earlier this year, which was a similar kind of itch for me. I think actually it scares me seeing how much time you've put into it, Emma.
Yeah, I haven't got...
I don't have time to do all that and keep up my other hobbies.
Yeah, I would say just the life admin chores are about an hour a day before you've even done anything else.
Yeah, definitely.
I think this is scratch an itch that I had from playing The Sims a lot as a teenager. And then things like Farmville I used to be a fan of. So it's definitely a certain type of game, like Spiritfarer. You probably don't need both. I think I'm just going in a couple of villagers' houses here.
Yeah. I mean, I think your islands both look great. And I think people at home will be wondering, how can people get in touch with you guys if they want to come and explore your islands? They can do that, right? They have to tweet you? Is that how it works?
I think I can, yeah. You can find me on Twitter at EmmaBird.
And I'm also on Twitter, Swirling Firefly.
There you go. If you're watching now, you're liking the look of these islands, you want to visit someone, hit them up on Twitter, get yourself an invite, and yeah. I think we'll call it there. Thanks you so much for joining me, guys. I really enjoyed this look at both of your islands. And we're going to throw it back to the live show now, back in the studio, and we will see you again soon in the next video. Bye! And we're back. That was Animal Crossing New Horizons on the Nintendo Switch with Emma and Toni. Thank you for joining me, Emma and Toni. And if you liked that, definitely check them out on Twitter and ask if you can visit their island, because they're both pretty cool. I'm now joined by Ben Joy, the man of the moment. Hi, Ben.
Hello.
How's it going?
How you doing? Man of the moment. I like that. I am the man of this moment. Right
You're a man in a moment.
Yeah, finally, I've got a moment. It's only taken 27 years.
Okay, what are we talking about here? We're talking about seasonal updates to games. So just like Animal Crossing, which we just saw there, shown off by Emma and Toni, games often have seasonal updates, whether that's for Halloween or for a specific season of the year or for Christmas or the holidays. And you've been thinking about this a bit this week, and you've actually published a blog, which we're going to encourage people to go and look at. But maybe just wait a minute first. Don't just run straight off and go and read it, because we're still talking to you and it's rude to leave while we're talking. But yeah, what have you been looking at this week, Ben, and what have you been thinking about?
Yeah, so obviously it's now becoming the norm to get these seasonal updates, and you see them more and more. So I just was thinking about, why you should do them, what's good about them, and kind of getting them right as well, because you shouldn't just do them for the sake of doing them because everyone else is doing them. With it being so competitive, you have to get it right. If you kind of do something a bit meh, it's going to fly under the radar, and then it's not.
Ben? Okay, either I've lost internet or Ben's lost internet. And if it's me, then the whole stream's going to go down. If it's Ben, then you'll just see his face frozen for some time. In quite an amusing face. So I'll just talk about his...
going to be worth.
Oh, he could be back. Ben, can you hear me?
Okay. Are you? Can you hear me?
We're waiting for your VCAM connection.
Okay, let me try and sort that. I apologise. My internet dropped out, which is far from
the scariest
ideal.
thing of all. No Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Wi-Fi.
While Ben's having a think about connecting his camera. Yeah, do you want to drop out and come back in a second? That's okay.
Yeah, apologies.
No worries. While Ben's doing that, I'll talk you through some of the points in his blog, and then he will just repeat them when he gets back, and he'll look like a fool. There's a variety of reasons why you would engage with seasonal updates for a game, and one of the primary ones, which you can read about in the blog, is community building. So creating seasonal, timely content that's happening in real time makes it easier for fans of your game to feel part of something. And Emma's talked about this, actually. She's quoted in the blog from our Animal Crossing video. You're able to engage with things that other people are engaging with at the same time, and that breeds a sense of community, which is a really valuable reason to do this in the first place. But there are other reasons as well. And Ben, hopefully you're now back. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Can you hear me and see me?
I can hear you and I can see you. I was just telling the people at home about community, but maybe you want to talk about other aspects which are interesting, like longevity, perhaps.
Yeah, so obviously something we've talked about quite a lot, and something that we...
Is he gone again? Okay.
Leave a lot.
Can you hear me?
No, I can hear you, but I
Okay.
don't know whether you can hear me.
I think I can hear you again now. I think you just had a momentary blip again. Do you want to just say that again?
Yes, I was just saying that we've talked about long life games a lot. It's something that we're quite passionate about, well, very passionate about, and things like themed updates are a great way to do that, because, as you mentioned, it is very much a community driven thing. It's very much for your existing community, because it's not necessarily going to pull someone in who hasn't already bought the game, but it might be enough to bring someone back who has maybe lapsed or isn't playing the game as much, to get them back playing the game. And it's then from them playing the game and starting to talk about the game again, that's when you'll get the new people in. And I think that's the really important thing with the longevity, that it's to bring people back or to keep people playing. So obviously you just had Emma and Toni on, and in the blog post, I was speaking to Emma about it for the blog post, and she very kindly gave me some words for that, about her having played Animal Crossing, and one of the things that she said was about coming back and playing the game, and very much feeling part of that community. I don't know whether you said this. Apologies if I'm repeating, because when I dropped out. But the thing about themed updates and seasonal updates is that it's happening here and now. It's very time specific. So if you miss it, you've missed it. So there's kind of, you have that, I don't want to miss out factor. like with a Halloween update, if you're not here and doing the Halloween update right now, you've missed it. And again, with Christmas, if you're not playing at Christmas, you've missed it. And it just gives people a chance to play together and talk together about a game, about something that's already happening in their everyday lives, and associating it with the game. So that's the real, the strong longevity factor, and also the community factor working together.
Yeah. And I guess it also helps games to kind of stay relevant. And you kind of hinted at that, but like, you know, gaming is such a competitive space, and once a game's been purchased, or if your game is even maybe free as part of Game Pass or whatever it is, if somebody has your game available to them, that's not even necessarily the end of the battle. You're kind of competing for their attention. You're competing against, you know, watching Netflix. You're competing against playing all the other games they've got in their library. They're competing against everything else that's going on in the world. And doing stuff like this, like you say, almost creates that kind of FOMO, that kind of fear of missing out, where you're like, oh, if I don't play the Halloween content now, on November the 1st, it'll be too late. Might be in time for the Guy Fawkes content, but I will have missed the Jack-o'-lanterns and the other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what's really important as well is, like, with Halloween coming up, and I know, like, I'm not getting involved because I'm a big wuss, but like I know from like it's like, oh, what scary movies are we going to watch this week because it's Halloween? It's kind of like if you've got scary content coming out in your game or season, it's like, oh, what scary games are we going to play this week? Or, you know, what games are we playing that has a scary update that's going to fit into the mood that we're feeling in? So it's getting games into that space so people start thinking about it like that. As you say, so your default isn't just what scary movies are we going to watch, but what scary games are we going to play? So, it's very much that, again, feeds into the relevance, and it needs to be a relevant update. I think, as I mentioned in the blog post, if a lot of them are free, which is, you know, very much why they're for the community. And if it is going to be paid for, it absolutely has to be relevant to the game, and it has to be meaty as well. Like, you don't want to pay, even if it's like £4, £2.50, something like that, to just have some like pumpkins dotting around. Like, that isn't enough to make you want to do it. And if anything, that's going to have a negative effect if you buy something and it's not meaty. So again, if that needs to be relevant, and again, if you're doing a paid for update, that is again very much for the community. It's not so much as a reward, but more, we're trying to get our existing players to buy this. You're unlikely to get someone who is on the fence about the game to purchase the game to then purchase the DLC. Like, it's not really going to go that way. That's too high a barrier of entry for a new person. But yeah, that's something to think about as well, whether it's going to be free or paid for. Is what people are paying for, is it worth it? Because if it's not, then don't do it.
Yeah. Insightful question from the chat, and I think this is a question that we really need to answer on the record. Behind you, have you got Quality Street or Heroes?
Heroes. Because in Heroes, there's not one that isn't nice.
I think I agree with you, actually. You're right. Heroes is a strong choice.
There's no nuts, there's anything like... But they took Dreams out. If they put Dreams in, then it would be the perfect one.
Usually it's me who's shilling for like sponsorship deals, but you're going all in on Cadbury's.
Yeah, because they could then do a Halloween update for Heroes and change Dreams to be Nightmares, and there you go. Missing a trick.
What would a nightmare taste like, though?
I'd still hope it would taste nice. It'd be a bit naff if it just tasted horrible. It'd taste like my failed dreams. That's what
it's the dreams from the factory that they've dropped on the floor. They just picked them up and put them in the wrapper and said that's the nightmares.
Yeah, just like a couple of hairs, a bit of fluff on it. Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway,
yeah, I was interested if you knew any, if you had any opinions about who's doing this well at the minute. Like, who is nailing Halloween for you?
I mean, the one we just saw, Animal Crossing, is nailing it. I mean, Animal Crossing has nailed everything all year. It's just the game that keeps getting stronger, and I think you saw from Toni and Emma's Islands how strong, that update is, and people are engaging with it and having fun with it. I also liked the look of the No Man's Sky one that came out on Monday. So they'd done an update a little while ago, and they'd brought that back to the forefront and added more to it. So they built on a successful update, and again, that feeds back to the relevance. So the update came out a few months ago, and it's now relevant, and they've updated it again and pushing people on the Halloween side of things, and people are loving that update. So I think that's really good to use content you had, improve it, for the situation and the time of year that you're in now is a great example of how to do it well. And again, as always with No Man's Sky, it was a free update. So
yeah. Well, thanks for that. And if you're interested in finding out more about Ben Joy's thoughts on seasonal updates, there's a whole blog full of them. That's like this, but with words rather than faces and noises. You can find that at etchplay or etchuk.com/play, I should say. And we've also put a link in the chat if you're on Twitch. So yeah, make sure that you go and check that out after the show. Ben, thank you for joining me.
No worries. Apologies for my internet problems. Hopefully they'll not rear their ugly heads next week.
Well, yeah, hopefully we'll be back next week for episode 10 of the Etch Play Weekly live show. Last week, the show ended too abruptly, so this week I'm going to play some music, play us out. We're going to pretend like newsreaders, going to shuffle some papers. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you to Emma and Toni for being on the Animal Crossing segment, and thank you for Dan Thomas doing the news as ever. And we will see you next week. Have a wonderful Halloween weekend. Check out YouTube. We've got some stuff going up on Saturday, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Sorry about that.
Your mic's still live.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Sorry, everyone.